It's time.
Rest clinches a spot in the Rip Curl WSL Finals.
Surfing's biggest day is set.
Add him to your list. He's in the Final Five.
The Final Five, men and women, have a chance to cement their own legacy.
Never expected to be here in this situation, so we'll give it a red hot crack.
They alone control their fate.
Yeah, I'm ready for the finals. See you soon, Trestles.
Throws plenty of speed. She hangs on to that one.
Just gets spit out.
10 unique journeys have led to this moment.
Radical call here, a complete incomplete.
The biggest upset of the contest so far.
The inspiration has been found.
Morgan Siblic's head-to-head record with John Florence is going to be 2-zip.
Sally Fitzgibbon's tucking in. Wow.
The preparation has been done.
I hope I can make things shake a little bit.
It's time to leave it all in the water.
It's one of the best single manoeuvres we've seen in women's competition.
It's time for one to rise.
Get to duke it out and have a shot at a world title. So fired up.
Will you choke? Will you make it work? Will you win?
It's time for the Rip Curl WSL Finals.
I've been having this vision. I've been having this vision. Either rise or you fall. On a mission, bringing my dreams to fruition. I ain't playing at all. Bring out the body bags. I'm about to kill them, deliver them to the mortician. I gotta do what I gotta do. That's for my vision. I gotta do what I gotta do. I wake up, eat every day. I'ma do me, I'ma do me. That's in my blood. I'll never change. That's in my blood. I'll never change. That's in my blood. I'll never change.
Good morning from Lower Trestles. A gold medalist and a surfer chasing a fifth title. Carissa Moore in the Red Bull athlete zone with Fitzgibbons behind her. Coffin waking up early, and also a rookie named Morgan Siblick finding some good parking for that Super 73. The reigning world champ Italo Ferrer signing up with a coach named Mike Parsons for some local knowledge. And world number 2 Tatiana Weston Webb trying to get the first women's world title for Brazil. Carissa Moore out on dark, riding equipment shaped by a local shaper named Matt Biolis. Feeling the rhythm of this solid southwest swell here on a beautiful Tuesday morning, and it's starting to feel like we could be closer to game day to crown our men and women's champions on the same day. If it's called on by Jesse, we will have history made and our world champions decided this afternoon here in Southern California. Joe Turpel, Mitchell Salazar, and Rosie Hodge. Mitch, there's a lot of anxiety or anxious nerves when you're competing in an event like this. A lot of surfers saying it's been hard to get to sleep. What about you? What time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up at 3 a.m. It was crazy. I'm so anxious to go. I'm ready. The waves are firing today, and I have a good feeling about it.
Rosie, things felt just a little bit more special heading down the track this morning. Waves, in your opinion, how have they changed from what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, Joe, it's looking super clean. I've got a confession. I've been lying the last couple of days. I've said I'm excited, but today I'm absolutely fizzing, to steal a phrase from Ronnie Blakey. And I think our contenders are feeling that same energy.
Well, now let's make it official and see if we are crowning our champions today. Big good morning to Kaipo Guerrero and Jesse Miley-Dyer.
Thank you, Joe. Well, we've been on yellow. Are we going to go green? Jesse.
We are. We're going to be on. So we're going to start at 8 o'clock. I know a few people down here are checking out the surf, but it looks really, really good. It's going to be a glorious day down here.
There's a lot of surf out there. It looks pretty consistent. Today, we're going to be utilizing jet ski assist. Can you run us through that?
Yeah, it's pretty solid out there right now, and we've been really fortunate that we've got jet skis this year. So what we're going to actually be doing is we're not going to drop the surfer right into the lineup just to make sure we don't create any wake, but we are going to take them out kind of past that break point.
That's awesome. More surfing with that assist. Everyone, cancel your appointments. Buckle in. It's finals day here at Lower Trestles. Joe?
That's right. You got permission from Kaipo, the champion of fantasy surfer. Jesse Miley-Dyer switching it to green. A lot of news in that quick call-up. It's one, we're crowning champions today, but also jet ski assist. That changes all the scenarios for those surfers trying to go from match 1 into the title match. As we'll bring up the one-day map for Surfline, we're just focused on today. We knew this southwest swell was going to continue to pump even today with an extra swell after the last swell we had peaked last night, Mitch.
Yeah, and the good thing about today, Rosie, is that the winds are pretty light. We do have a little bit of a southwest wind this morning, but it's going to decrease throughout the day. And the good thing about it today, too, is that the swell is actually peaking later.
And a lot of positives, even that tide. I mean, it's going to be low at about 9:45, but then rising throughout the day. That's also going to push the swell in and really bring a nice little bit of energy onto the cobblestones.
Surfers are going to be on their toes. Look at the wave heights there on screen, 6 to 10 feet, basically steady through the day, but 2 different swells giving us a ton of energy here at Lower Trestles for the Rip Curl WSL Finals officially called on. And we know we got the final 5 for the men and women. The women start first. Stephanie Gilmore and Joanne Defay. Steph, the 4th seed, Joanne, the 5th seed, all wanting to take on Sally Fitzgibbons in the next match.
Yeah, this is a tough match to decide now with these kind of conditions. I think things definitely shifting in the favor of Stephanie Gilmore now.
Now looking at assists, you're not worried about too much fatigue. You don't have to paddle back out on the right. I feel like Gilmore's starting to see the finish line at this point. As we switch to the men's bracket, Connor's been putting in a lot of time to prepare for Morgan Siblick.
Definitely. You know, I'd have to say I've seen a lot of Morgan Siblick. I've been out here on a couple of the days, and he's spent a lot of time hanging out with local Griffin Colapinto, so he's had some reps at lowers now under his belt.
That is an underdog story, so just so you can know what's happening, we're going to start with the women. First thing in the morning, Steph versus Joanne Defay. And then we're going to go right into the men's heat. So Connor Coffin, Morgan Siblick will be that second match of the morning. It'll flip-flop back to the women's match number 2. That'll be Sally Fitzgibbons. All the title matches means the world title is on the line. That'll be later on this morning. So getting through the lower seeds to finally set up the title match for Carissa Moore and also Gabriel Medina, who sit world number 1 after an incredible season that we've had in 2021. We're going to take a quick break. The contest is on. Green alert. Get ready. Lower Trestles is on fire.
Welcome back. We are in the lineup. This is the Rip Curl WSL Finals, and it's go time, baby. I'm Strider Wasilewski bringing you into the lineup, onto the playing field, and we are going to have the best day ever. Solid 8 to 10 foot faces rolling in, light offshore winds, tides rolling down, and they're going to push back up all day, and it is going to be firing. A lot of water out here moving around. So a lot of rail in the water. That means your boards are going to be flying. These guys are going to have to manage speed. They're going to have to feel the different fins. They might even have to switch up their equipment for the day because it's powerful out here. Big, chunky walls coming at you with more lip line as the day goes on. I cannot wait. Getting it under my feet, you can feel it coming through the water into you. You can feel the energy on the beach out here in the water. It's absolutely putting green, perfect. And you know what? Mr. Peter Mell is in there on the cobblestones waiting for us. What do you got, Peter?
Well, I'm in the Red Bull athlete zone, and as you can see, the world famous surfboard is getting waxed up, the Cash Cow, after having some damage done to it earlier in the week. It has been fixed up by Derek Disney, and I see wax going on this one. This board has won 4 championship tour events and looking to win another world title. Steph Gilmore is amped and ready. I love this stuff. I've got chills, I got chicken skin, and I'm sure she's got the same. So to hear more about this Cash Cow, let's head over to the side set with Chris Cote.
Thanks so much for the insight, P. It is great to see that board repaired back into the lineup for Steph Gilmore. Of course, Cote, we know she's had some major career wins. J-Bay, Bells, Karamas, and Mexico, all right-hand points, and now she's going to paddle out into the WSL Finals on it.
Well, this is yet another unique element to surfing. This is not a brand new board. This is, in fact, a fairly old board in the grand scheme of things. Most people keep surfboards around for a year or so, and then they start to deteriorate. For Stephanie Gilmore, this is her board that she keeps on ice, hidden under the bed. You know, unlike any other sport where the newest equipment is the go-to, for surfers sometimes you get that magic board and you try to keep that thing as pristine as possible. You know, this board is called the Cash Cow for a reason. It, at this point, is priceless to Stephanie Gilmore. I would say online that board would probably go for $1 million. It's that worth it for a perfect board like this.
Well, it's great to see her have that confidence in that equipment. Like you mentioned, it's an old board. She first won in J-Bay back in 2018. That's 4 years ago. Most surfers, a board maybe lasts for a season, and for her to be able to keep that thing on ice has been really important.
Yeah, and last time we saw that board activated on all its powers was down at the 2021 Corona Open Mexico, where her surfing just stood head and shoulders above the rest. To me, this is where we saw a reinvigorated Stephanie Gilmore. She had a decent year on the championship tour, of course, but this right here was really that moment that everything switched. She was outside of the final 5, not even in the conversation for a title, but then she served her way to absolute glory on the magic board. And trust me, when this board was being carried up and down the beach, people were offering, can I carry your board? Do you need any help? She's like, you can carry all of these other boards. I will be carrying this board.
Well, it's great to see Steph with a huge win out at Mexico, and that confidence now. It was the last event before the WSL Finals, so will she be able to take it through with a win out here in an 8th world title? We'll be right back with more action for the Rip Curl WSL Finals right after this.
The Rip Curl WSL Finals are brought to you by Rip Curl, the ultimate surfing company. By Oakley, official eyewear and personal protective equipment of the World Surf League. By Shiseido, official sunscreen of the World Surf League. And by Sambazon, official acai of the Rip Curl WSL Finals. The championship event is on. The Rip Curl WSL Final starts with Joanne DeFay, seed number 5, taking on a 7-time world champ named Stephanie Gilmore to kick off the first match of what will be an incredible day for pro surfing here in San Clemente, California. Joe Turpel, Mitchell Salazar, and former CT standout Rosie Hodge. We've been waiting every single morning to kick things off. Mitch, I want to get your take quickly on the right and the left of what you're seeing this morning. Are both going to be very valuable today?
I think so, but as of right now, I think the right's probably going to be the better wave out of the two. The left tends to stand up a lot on the outside, but then it slows down in the middle part and then stands up right at the end as well. But I just think the right's going to be the most valuable wave out there.
Rosie, thinking Steph versus Joanne, with the left being valuable as well. I mean, what do you think Joanne's going to be looking to do to separate herself from Gilmore's performance?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Joe, because you are going to have to create a point of difference, especially for Joanne going up against someone like a 7-time world champ, knowing the head-to-head history that she's never won a head-to-head heat against Stephanie Gilmore. I think she's going to definitely look at the left as a potential advantage for her.
Interesting, though, to note, we also do have the jet ski assist, which was announced this morning. How much does that really change the formula today for surfers starting off in match number 1?
Right, it's a great point because it completely changes the landscape of the whole event. I think the way you approach a heat, especially for somebody like Italo, who's in one of the final matches, I mean, that guy has a point of difference now where he can just really go and compete the way he's used to. Not maybe conserve your energy, maybe a little bit more conservative on your surfing. Now he can do anything he wants to freely.
We're thinking about energy on a day like today, Rosie. You've spent a lot of time in this lineup when you have a swell that peaked last night and another swell that will be adding to the energy out there. What's the water feel like when you get up to your feet?
Yeah, it's interesting listening to Strider talk about it. Just that energy as it draws off the cobblestones, especially with that tide still draining out. I think as we see it kind of move in, that water is going to just start to push. Paddling into the wave is extremely difficult on a rising swell, but I think once you're on that face, it just draws out in front of you, and there's so much opportunity to draw on that canvas.
We're certainly seeing a lot more size than we did the last time the championship tour was here, 2017. A Brazilian sweep, Toledo, Silvana Lima winning here at Lower Trestles. Rich Porta still on hand as our scoring and rules expert, longtime head judge as well. First of all, morning, Rich.
Morning, Joe.
And what really has changed in the criteria, going back to 2017 to what we have today?
The criteria is basically the same, but the scale of how the judges score it has adjusted dramatically. Every few years the scale gets dropped down a little bit, and all sport has to have progression, otherwise it gets dull and boring. So what the judges do with adjusting the scale is it forces the surfers into a better performance, and we definitely have seen that in the last few years. It's lifted the performance. We go back to 2017 last time we're here, and the surf that we had was nowhere near like today, obviously. But you look at this, it's a really good tail high full rotation, and he did the floater before it and gets a 9.8. Now, it's a great air, but you look at the airs the guys and girls have been doing this year, and that's not getting a 9.8. So, we adjust the scale, pushes the surfing, and there we get what we see, with the likes of Gabrielle and doing those massive airs earlier in the year.
Very interesting looking back at those 9.8s we used to see. Now they keep that excellent range for really special moments. Rich, let's really focus on today's criteria and what the judges are really going to be impressed with.
Yeah, and as Strider alluded to just before, it's a really strong, powerful swell running out there at the moment. So the judges are going to be looking for the surfers that are holding their rails through the full rotation of their turn. So, you're going to see these big figure 8 S turns and the like, and the surfers that skitter through the turns, you'll see those scores drop a little bit, but the surfers that can hold their rail through the full turn, they're going to be the good scores. There's obviously going to be some airs out there as well, especially on that end section. Expect to see some massive punts going on, and the judges will be looking for the height, the trajectory, the landing, all those bits that come into it. So big, powerful surfing on powerful waves equals a good score.
We're loving it, and especially when you have a solid swell, it's going to be building throughout the day. I remember having a conversation with you, Rich, when the scale was changing. It was after 2 rounds at Snapper Rocks in 2018. There were only 4 excellent scores. 2017, there were 55. It was a huge, dramatic difference, and I think the surfers had to take a little time to get used to it. Now when you hear an 8, it's really a wave that you will remember all year.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, because that has progressed surfing. There's no doubt about it, and they've also adjusted the good range. Good used to be 6 to 8. Now good is 5.5 to 6.4, and very good is 6.5 to 7.9. So you've got 2 little sections in that good range to separate it even more. And I really like where they've taken it now. It did take the surfers a little while to adjust. It always does whenever the scale gets adjusted, but they're down with it now, and they can really go flat out and know what sort of scores they're going to get for that kind of surfing.
Thank you so much, Rich, for your time. Once again, we'll be bugging you.
No worries.
Politely throughout the day today. It's really fun to catch up with Rich, throughout the rounds, through what we're going to be seeing throughout the day, because we're going to be setting the scale, and Rich is going to be able to give us even more insight to elaborate on that score.
100%, and it's great to have somebody so experienced too, especially at this wave in particular. I mean, you talk about the judges that are actually on the panel right now. Most of them have been there for years, but Rich has actually been the head judge at this event for many years.
Really interesting how it's going to be, compared, because Lowers creates that kind of controversy with one single maneuver, kind of like we saw in the warm-up from Medina, that crazy flip rotation, to someone who's just going to link beautiful carving work. You're thinking of a Connor Coffin in that approach today.
I love the simplicity that Rich put it into, matching the power of Lowers today, really holding that rail line, because there is a bit of texture on the face today from that southerly swell, so it's so important to hold the turn through that wave. And I think it's going to be highlighted today who's kind of mistiming their turns and who's really letting their rail go before they've really done that maneuver well.
A lot of time to expose yourself, but a lot of time to show how worthy you are of a world title, which will be going down today. It's green lit for the Rip Curl WSL Finals. Steph Gilmore takes on Joanne DeFay. Coming up quick here.